got to tell y'all about this thing called life. You know I got to share it. See, there's this thing called life. I got to tell y'all.
Hey, what's good, everybody? Hope you guys are all well. Welcome to episode 162 of In a Good Way podcast. I'm going to do this one by myself. I have another interview coming up this week. And then I know there's another one later on this month for sure. So I wanted to talk a little bit about all this lunar eclipse energy. I'm still feeling it, right? Yesterday, right before the full moon came up, my head was very it almost felt like, after you drink a bunch of NyQuil, which I haven't done in years, but yeah, I was very loopy, right? My head was very, I've been having tons of dreams. I wanted to talk about a few of those dreams because, they might resonate with somebody out there, right? But and there was a blood moon as well, right? Um, which is funny because give me one second. Like I was saying, it was funny because yesterday, um, I taught a yoga class, right? And it was going on during the eclipse, but the peak of the eclipse, it said here, even though we weren't able to see it. And a friend, Mariska, she sent me some photos from the Netherlands. I believe she's at, right? So if she sees this, yeah, some beautiful, they saw it. I guess they were able to see it over there perfectly. But here the sun was nice and bright, but the energies are still there. Um, and after the yoga class, I had taken my deck from another person. Obviously that I had interviewed, Sean Leonard, and this is the card that came up right out of all things. With the nice. I mean, it's not a. It might be a blood moon. I don't know because it looks kind of orangey, but it definitely looks like a blood moon. And it was a pretty interesting card. I might read it right now just to because it did resonate a lot, right, with everything going on. But this card came out yesterday during the blood moon, right, as it was at its peak. So it was pretty funny, right? Humility, though, right? The wolf humility. So it was pretty interesting, right? To get the little turtle, all that stuff. I'll read it right now in a little bit, but I don't want to lose my train of thought. So, anyways, it was a beautiful and thanks to Amanda at Keep Your Crown Right. She opened up the shop, so we were able to do the yoga practice there. Um, yeah, so shout out to her. She was my second guest ever, and then I know I interviewed her not too long ago, right? So we were able to, share that space, and it was a beautiful experience, right? To get grounded, right before or during the eclipse. But regardless, right, I had already been seeing tons of things. One thing that happened to me was I had this, vision where I was purging, right? All this crazy dark black stuff was coming out, and I was like, what in the world? I even obviously, right, when I woke up, I had a lot of reflection because I was like, what, why would that come out of me, right? Like, you know but I accepted it. I was like, wow, it clearly came out of me. So what traumas, what this, what that, what things was I still holding on to, right? But it was beautiful to have that purging, right? To go through a purging myself, right? And to see it happening for others as well. That's why I share it, because I'm sure if it happened to me, um, then others probably experienced this as well. And then the night before the eclipse, um, my brother came to me in a dream. And it was funny because little things from the dream ended up happening, as I was driving home after the yoga practice. After the yoga practice, I started seeing the little things like that my brother, like little things my brother was kind of nudging me with, right after. So it was pretty cool, right? But anyways, in the dream, he came to me, and I think I expected it, right? Because the veil was super. I don't know. I think the veil it's not really that it's any thinner, right? I was already in that space because I had even opened myself up. I think maybe, right? Maybe the energies were already very open for me during this time leading up, right? Even weeks before, I even opened myself up to reading. So, if anyone wants a reading, right, like a psychic reading, you could email me at inagoodwaypodcast@gmail.com. And, I open myself up to that again, right? And, just email me and I'll let the prices and all that, right? Depending on the amount of time, obviously, that you want the reading. But, I had already opened myself up to that, right? And I was able to do a few readings and everything. And so that was beautiful, right? To, to already be very connected in that way. And then when I started having all the visions for myself for experiences I was having, right? Like oh yeah, so anyways, back to my brother. So the thing about my brother was, I haven't drank in at least 10 years, and in the dream he was buying me a beer, you know, and there was family there, so it was very like family, which is funny that that's the card. This card actually has a lot to do with family, so I'll probably read it right now. But it was family, right? And he's buying me a beer, and it was funny because we were drinking, like he was buying me the same kind of beer he was drinking, right? And that's how we were, right? We were very similar in a lot of ways, and our birthdays were only 3 days apart and all that good stuff. So it was a celebration. Like I had passed these tests, and I did feel tons of tests during this time, right? A lot of shadow work, facing traumas, facing things that, man, it's crazy. Like how there's so many things we don't realize that we still have within us. So and also, just back to, not to be like, like how I mentioned the psychic reading thing. If you do feel more comfortable, maybe, you're not feeling my energy or something, or like for a reading, right? But, I even reached out to like a couple mentors during this time. It was beautiful to feel that you have that support, that you can reach out to people, um, like that, right? When you're going, because I did, some things were very heavy, right? And I was like, you know what? I need to reach out. I need to reach out, I need to reach out to somebody. So, um, three mentors that I had during as I was learning more things about, like, doing readings and all that, right? Uh, how to set boundaries spiritually, all kinds of things, right? Like three mentors that I know I could vouch for. Not to say anyone else I've interviewed doesn't have amazing gifts, right? But these are just at least three people that I've really interacted with that I know, um, wouldn't guide you in the wrong way. Is, I guess, maybe that's the right way to say it, right? But like, Maria Lupita. I'll put links to all their interviews below, right? Maria Lupita, the Medium, and Katie Starnes. My friend the Medium, Shannon. So those three have been great mentors in my journey, right? So I just want to give them a shout out. But yeah, they're amazing. They have, they're really tapped into their gifts. So even that, right? Like if someone was looking for that kind of healing, right? Because to me, that's kind of, even me, I needed to reach out to somebody just to see what was going on. Sometimes I just need to see if someone else is going through the same thing I'm going through, so that I don't feel like the energy gets lighter, just knowing that you're not the only one. For me, a lot of my work was with the heart space. So that was hard, right? Like it's really, you know, I don't know if it's just me, right? I can master the mind, right? Like especially that, right? With like the psychic vision, right? I've talked about how, at one point it was like it was like if I had 50 TV screens going on in my head at one point, and I had to ground myself to not lose my mind, right? Because imagine seeing like what you're seeing in front of you times 50, it will make you think that you're about to go to the nut house, right? So, I was able to master a lot of things with the minds, but the emotions are a different thing, right? And in the past, I've always been able to just cut off people. Um, but this time, there was someone that's very tapped into the astrology, right? That where I was going, this yoga studio I was going to, and she told me a lot of things, right? That I was kind of like in relationship school, and it doesn't just have to mean relationship in a romantic way, just relationships, right? How can you learn if you're not doing it, right? Like in my thing, it wasn't that I ran from stuff. I just in my head, it's like, wow, I don't need to deal with you, and chop, chop, chop. Like that was my way of doing things, right? So obviously, to be put in a lot of situations where I still have to deal with people, right? Like I mentioned before about like, even with the yoga, right? I had finished all the necessary things with the yoga certification, and then, they didn't want to give me my certificate, so there was still this lingering thing, and I even addressed it. I don't know if I already mentioned that, right? But I told the person that I wanted to meet up with them, right? Um, and so I addressed it, and I at least got to get off my chest what I needed to say, right? I was able to tell them that I still felt wronged. It wasn't right what was done. Um, and that person was still had their stance. So I was like, see, even right now, but right now I'm feeling it in my heart, but more refreshing, right? Like there was even something else that happened that where my heart really felt just like relieved, right? And sometimes that happens from not carrying that weight and just saying what's really on your mind or on your heart, right? In this case, a lot of that was going on for me, right? There's this show in Spanish, La Rosa de Guadalupe, where every time after, it's like that show's all about the Virgin Mary, right? And so every time, the Virgin kind of grants someone their request, like they put it in slow motion and the wind's like, I don't have hair, so you wouldn't be able to see my hair anyways. But um, you think he's going off. Oh, nice. Wow, that's good. uh, I got a notification of something, right? Fine. Of It's always nice to get notifications like, oh, something sent you money. So cool. Anyways, so yeah. So the Rosa de Guadalupe, right? All that stuff, and so that's how I felt on my heart, right? Very refreshed, like a wind was just blowing on my heart, And even right now, just talking about that made me feel refreshed. Like, hey, but yeah, see, there was a lot of connections that I couldn't just because, hey, I still, what do we need to do for me to, to get this certification thing done, right? So then after that's done, then if I could go on my way, right? But it was like the universe brought me a lot of lessons where it wasn't as easy to just cut ties, right? Where there's still connections, right? It's putting me in situations where there's a lot more that I can't just walk away from, right? So that's what it's been doing for me, right? And so a lot of that is tied to emotions, right? As we deal with other humans, the emotions are crazy, right? Having to deal, but it made me appreciate this human experience, obviously, right? I know I'm supposed to be more grounded. I can't always escape to like for so long, it's like all the spirits have been my BFFs and they communicate a lot. Like I feel like it's not that they communicate clearer, but I'm able to receive it better, right? Now I can receive it. Now I don't feel like now if I hear someone talking to me, I don't feel like, oh, that's just me or I'm nuts or something like that right now I've settled into that, right? I've accepted all that part of me and all that good stuff. So, oh, but yeah, anyways, as I was going through that purging, yeah, this is probably gonna I know I'm all over the place, but I'm trying to make sure because there was so many things, right? Like I mentioned, Maria who is like she's been someone I've been able to reach out to, right? So I consider her a mentor with a lot of things, right? Because um she's very knowledgeable about a lot of things, right? And so we're able to have these really good conversations. Even sometimes, right? I haven't talked to her for a while, and then reach out. But she told me about see, today the healing begins with purification. The Kawak Trecena saw your rebirth. With E, you started a journey which led you to Khan, where you were blessed with wisdom. Yesterday, you received the knowledge of the ancestors. Now it's time to put it to work. So she literally said how like it was like the beginning. Oh, and this is the second day of September. So she was like, "Wow, that sounds like what you're going through is like literal." See, like there's this whole thing. So right, the ancestors already had this, right? Is it Mayan or more like Aztec? Let me see. And this is from yeah, day 2 of September. So it's like the whole calendar every day it's showing you like what's happening, right? Oh, here it is. Yeah, it's a whole calendar so it shows. Maybe I'll put a link to it, right? Oh, so it's like Aztec, I think more, right? Because it's a new Aslander. Oh no, wait. For the past years, I've been receiving blah blah. Let me see. It's talking about describing. Um. Oh, here it is. The Tijax Trecena. Oh, from 2nd of September to the 14th of September. Yeah. So I guess you would like. Yeah, it sounds very right. Like it was happening visually, right? And it talks about taking the obsidian blade and cutting out what's no longer serving you, right? So the purging, all that stuff that I was going through, at least it didn't make me feel like I was like, oh wow, I had demons inside of me or what? Like what was all that darkness, right? Like it made it more, so it was beautiful to be able to reach out. See, the Tijax Trecena presents an opportunity to release what is causing an imbalance in life, to promote healing, to cut through to our truth. It could be an excellent time for cleansing, a time of refinement as we polish our inner diamond, right? So, like how they say, like a diamond in the rough or something. So, it's like, it was beautiful that, she was able to send me this. I don't know. I got to look at it. But I remember there was something about the obsidian. Oh, here. Oh, I had to scroll all the way down. So, this was, oh no, so it was from the first. That was the same one I was reading. T-Jax brings with it Tijax brings with it a tenacity to desire, a desire to bring balance to the world. It does so through healing division, sometimes by trimming to create balance, other times by dispatching the disharmonious. Tijax is on a mission from God to create a better world, and today this mission begins. See, so it was like the literal. Yeah, see, I got chills. It's like the literal. I was like I mean, I've been living it. Like it's literally I'm going through it, right? Like I'm going through that. It's manifesting, and I'm glad that I had someone that can actually point me in the right direction to give me a little clarity, right, on what I was experiencing, right? Uh so we are coming to some interesting points in the calendar. In particular, watch Akib 8 Ba'ats. These are all like indigenous words, I guess. So Kajib and Kajib Ajpu, both are very important days with regards to creation, and one Tijax helps to set the scene. It is almost like the first cleansing, the idea of or plan to begin cutting away the old growth to allow the new field to be planted. Take a fresh look at what needs to be healed or removed in order to bring harmony into your life. It may even require a little outside assistance, whether in the form of encouragement or just advice on where cuts need to be made. Today is the beginning of the healing process. Wow. They have this pretty cool, like old, see? I don't know how old that is, but that's pretty amazing. The Nahuatl Jax represents an obsidian or flint blade. How the blade is used depends on the intention of the person wielding it, a warrior or a surgeon. These would seem like opposite ends of the spectrum. However, where Tijax is concerned, the aim is the same: healing and purification. See, so I was purging, boom, boom, boom. Then I think the same. I went somewhere and there was just so many vultures, right? The golden purifier, right? They were purifying. And when I was starting this little journey recently, I had gone up to the mountains on a little mountain bike ride, and this coyote came right in front of me, and it looked so beat up. And I looked at it and I was like, wow, that's literally how I feel right now. But it was like we had just fought these battles, but we're still alive. But we were like, man, I was like, wow, yeah, I got you. I was like, I told it, like, I was like, yeah, I feel you. Like, it looked really beat up, right? Like, almost like it even had mange, right? But it was still trudging along. Then after I went through all this, I don't know, my brother had visited me yet, but I went on another mountain bike ride, right? So within the course of this whole thing that I was going through, and then this coyote crosses right in front of me again, but this one looked very strong, healthy, fearless, right? Even that, a lot of times the coyotes run from people. This one just stood right in front of me, and I was like, cool. And it felt like okay, because that's one of my, main like spirit animals, right? Like all that stuff. The coyote's always been, we've been very connected, right? It's been very significant in my life. It always appears when I'm going through huge changes, right? So even that, it represented change. It represented, um, sometimes like things had to happen the way they happened. And now it's showing me like, hey, this was all part of the plan, right? So when that coyote appeared, now looking strong from being all beat up to that, it felt like I did what was necessary, right? I passed the test, and then boom, and then my brother comes to me in the dream, kind of in a celebratory way, right? Buying me a beer, like, hey, I haven't drank in over 10 years, so I'm not to say I'm gonna go have a beer. It is tempting, like, just because, I mean, I didn't even drink it in the dream yet. He was just buying it for me, right? And there was family and stuff, so it felt beautiful, right? But yeah, maybe I'll put a link to this as well, right? Like what it was talking about, right? All that stuff. Um, so what else? What else would I like? The purging, this, that. Uh, yeah. Let me read this thing about the humility. Maybe I could pull another card. So if you don't like all this, like the cards and all that, um, yeah. I mean, there's just so many changes. There's too many things for me to be naming that I could think of at the moment, right? But what are my glasses? Just in case. It's not that small, but I'll talk about the cards. Since this came out on the blood moon, and it is kind of like the energy still present, right? Right. Still so much for me. It's been so much with the heart, right? The heart's just been crazy. So humility, wolf, and it's the number one, right? I like that, and it's kind of like that journey too about Anyways, humility teaches us that we are all equal and that all forms of life are equally valuable. It is through this sacred grandfather teaching that we are taught that no one person is better than another. And it is through the consideration of putting others before ourselves that we can truly express humility. Wolf carries this sacred lesson and offers his knowledge to us. To ensure its own survival, the pack must operate as one, and each member must understand its individual role within the group. The same is true within our individual lives. Humility is what allows us to sincerely ask for help. Only when we recognize and acknowledge the creator's role within our lives can we be truly humble. Accepting that all beings are equal is to capture the spirit of humility. In this way, wolf becomes our greatest teacher. For example, it bows its head when while in the presence of others and will not take food until all members of the pack have received a share. This respect given to one's community, damn, I got chills all the way down. This respect given to one's community is an important lesson and not one to be taken lightly. If you have drawn this card today, someone close to you may need your assistance, or perhaps you are the one in need of assistance. Give yourself permission to ask for help. There might be an opportunity that comes your way where you must work within a group. To ensure that all goes well, practice the lessons of humility so that any projects you're involved with run smoothly. Wow, that's beautiful. See, my whole gut lit up. And it was beautiful that came out because we were in that group setting, right? Right after the yoga practice, yeah, this card came out. And it was on the blood moon, and there's the full moon and the wolf howling, and like you can't even make that stuff up, right? It was just so amazing. What else? I don't know. I kind of since I read that thing about the like September, and I heard someone mention how September is the 9 month, right? The nine is ending, so I had been seeing a lot of nines, And so it makes sense, right? That it's all a journey, I guess, from the second to the 14th. So obviously, I'm still in all this, all this, right? So here, let me pull one of these real quick. The Jade Oracle. This is another guest, right, that I had interviewed. So let me just see what comes out, and then, yeah, I think I'll close it there. Oh, wow, that was fast. Ah, wow, I love it. That was really fast. It's Hui Hui Teotl, the ancient one, el viejo guardián. Wow. See the wisdom. It almost feels like that, like with the wisdom of the elders, and like, man, that's beautiful. I just love the. Let me see what the ancient one has to say, right? So it's just been, man, I still got chills all down. It's just been a really tough, not tough, because I know the lessons, but yeah, in a way, because that hard stuff is like, for me, I think now, yeah, it's more challenging than most things, right? Like, yeah, it's more challenging. See, I could be in the mind all, like I could see spirits, I could see this, I could see that, I could see, what people call aliens or otherworldly beings, no problem, right? Uh, but the emotions in this world, right? Especially in this dense earth that we live in, and all the dramas that unfold, and the injustices and the heartaches, and seeing the pains or feeling the pains, right? Being like a super empath, right? Where you just feel everything, and you feel people's sorrows and griefs, and so that's a huge thing, right? To feel. But that's what it is to be human, cuz and to be alive, right? Cuz once you stop feeling, probably not here in this dimension anymore, right? Huehue Teotl, the ancient one. In Nahuatl, Hue means old. So he is the old deity, the embodiment of fire itself. He is also associated with Shia de Gutli, the turquoise lord, or lord of the fire year. He initiates the ceremony for the new 52-year cycle and is the hearth fire in every home and temple. When Huehueteotl appears, you are beginning a new cycle. He asks you to connect with the DNA level wisdom rooted deep inside you. You are ready to step into a new level of leadership, to claim your authority as a human being, to be your own creator and your own inner mother and father. Light a fire in his honor and let the flames speak to you. Wow. Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. So that makes sense, right? Because that's exactly what I felt like. That was the celebration, right? Finishing something up and beginning something new. And being able to look at yourself in that mirror, right? Oh, not only that. Yeah, so even leading up to this, you know, um, there was this mug, right? Like this moon mug, right? That I would drink out of, right? Like at my partner's house, right? She had this huge moon, like the moon tarot card, right? And it broke, right? It shattered. And I had it like, I was washing it, and I had it maybe like 2, 3 inches above a plate. It fell on a plate, and this strong mug just shattered. And I was like, what? Now, like, there was a lesson in that, right? And so the moon is all about the illusions, and, you know, it's not really seeing things. Watch, let me just look at the actual, like, how they define it, right? But it was like if the illusion had shattered, right? See, the moon is a card of illusion and deception, and therefore often suggests a time when something is not as it appears to be. Perhaps a misunderstanding on your part, or a truth you cannot admit to yourself, right? So there was like these illusions were just shattering, right? and it literally shattered like in my hands, right? It was like boom. It just, and I was like, what's happening, right? So there was a lot of self reflection that had to take place, and not just about myself, but even the connections, right? The connections I was having, different things. Um, but there's a lot of looking at yourself. So that I'll just put it at that, right? And for some reason, it appears that I had passed the test, right? Look at like right here. It's funny because on the card, the moon card, it says there's a moon symbolizes hindrance and distraction. See, so like you see the dog and the wolf, I believe. A tamed wolf, a tamed dog, and an untamed wolf represent the dual nature of man on this card, right? The number 18 represents two different lenses of enlightenment. The number nine, see, there's the nine, like I was saying. Wow, I didn't even realize that. A waning moon symbolizes hindrance and distraction. The cosmic droplets raining down to earth are golden pieces of the moon's reflected wisdom, divine knowledge perceived through bent and scattered fragments of light. The moon illuminates the path in the distance leading to higher consciousness. The lobster is the shadow self, the unconscious rising up from the depths. Water is a symbol of intuition and heightened emotional state. And damn, or my emotions like going crazy, right? The moon wears a mask of indicating that things are not what they seem. The moonlight casts strange shadows and half truths. Yeah, so wow, see all that from that card, right? So when it shattered, it was like, instantly that's what it was. It was like the illusion has shattered. So I had to really see a lot of things for what they were, right? There was just so many things that I had to see for what they were, and that was a huge lesson, right? And it's deep. So it's just deep, right? Because there's so many layers to that of the way we build layers to protect ourselves, right? And a lot of times, yeah, it could start from, especially those are I've read for people where I was able to see things from childhood, even before someone was conscious, like in the crib kind of thing or stuff like that. So, sometimes they even start in the womb, right? They go into past lives. So there's so many layers to how many illusions we could have created even for ourselves, right? So that's a hard pill to swallow, so to speak, right? I think that's why obviously the whole matrix thing, right? Which pill do you want, right? Because it's a hard pill to swallow to uncover, you know, and henceforth the purging, right? All that purging, I'm using the blade correctly to cut out what no longer serves, right? What no longer has to say. So I won't try to keep making it because it was so personal that, but at least I can share those aspects, right? To invite someone to really, um, when I was gonna begin this journey. So this was since months ago, right? When I was in meditation and I went into the underworld, right? Not metaphorically, I literally like I saw my soul going into the underworld and Ereshka go, right? And she invited me down there, and so I knew I was about to take a journey. I didn't know how heavy it was gonna be, but in a way, I kind of did. I just didn't have a negative feeling or nothing. I just knew that it was gonna be quite the journey. And so, the story is like when the sister, right, Ereshkigal is like before people even started using the male underworld deities. It was Ereshkigal, right? So she's, I think, the oldest underworld deity, right? Of like Hades or hell or whatever you want to call it, the underworld, right? And the sister was in heaven, but when the sister wanted to go down there, she had to literally go naked. So that's what it literally felt like, right? Like getting everything stripped off of me and me literally walking into the underworld naked to be reborn, right? And then like how I mentioned, I literally worked a job where I had to shave off everything. Um, you know what I mean? I got wrapped in plastic, like it was like a whole symbolic thing of really going through a death and rebirth, right? And so I felt that's why, like, yeah, at the end of it all, right? Like, Like there was a celebration, right? Ah, wow. That is crazy. Wow. It's crazy because I just realized like the whole tarot thing, how it always pops up like in, waking life or in dreams or something. Okay, so I'm probably gonna end it there. I was gonna pull some more cards and this and that, but I think I'm just gonna end it there. Um, I think enough came through, right? That I feel comfortable ending this there. If anything, if you want to see maybe on the tarot channel, I actually do a reading there, right? I think I'm sure there's a link in the bottom, like the little circle that has the link to the tarot channel, right? So hope you guys are all well. Please let me know in the comments anything you're going through, right? If you've kind of felt like you were going through a dark night of the soul, if anything, any of the messages resonated. Like I said, I should have another interview this week. Maybe it'll be up by Thursday, right? And yeah, and then I have another one coming up. I've been reading. Where's the book? Oh yeah, I know. Adrian, who I've interviewed before, mentioned about the books. I'll make another video about that, right? Maybe I can already talk about, like Dolores Cannon, for example. I just finished her book a couple months ago. I feel like it's been already, and it brought a lot of insight to a lot of things I had been going through. And so yeah, but on that note, I'll just end it there. I know, because one of the interviews I have coming up is Ingrid, who provided the space for me when I did when I was interviewed and I gave my presentation for the what was it on Spiritual Awakenings International. So yeah, I don't know why I took so long to invite her on the podcast, right? But I'm glad I finally got around to do it. And she has an amazing story, even already just the first chapters of her book. There's a lot of insight that I didn't know about, right? So I'm like, oh wow, now I'm really excited to have her as a guest, right? Not that I wasn't excited already, but obviously, like, you know, yeah, I love stories, right? So there's a story there, and I can't wait for her to share it with everybody. She gave me the option to do the interview in English or Spanish. I'm gonna do it in English, and hopefully, everyone enjoys it. So, okay, thank you all. I'll see you all soon. Peace.
Life may move fast, or it may move slow. I met a silly man who said he make it slow. We look up out towards space, or even at the sky. One day pass away, but never look inside. Breathe in, breathe out. Life is a maze, but we'll figure this out. I mean, human beings, I ain't got no doubt. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, sometimes you just feeling it, you know what I'm saying? You just feeling it. And I wanna feel this way forever.